What's up, everyone? So, it has been a pretty long time since I've been on YouTube Live, but quite a lot has actually happened since last time I was live. I think last time I was live, I think it was like somewhere like around like July 26th or something, which on this chart is somewhere when like Bitcoin has just started, going up from the B word event, led by Cathie Woods, Jack Dorsey, and Elon Musk. And ever since then, Bitcoin has been breaking resistances. You can see for Bitcoin on the weekly, it has broken the 21 EMA. Let me make these lines slightly thicker so you guys can see it better. But Bitcoin broke the 21 EMA. So you can see this red line over here is the 21 EMA. Previously, when Bitcoin did fall, people were saying 21 EMA. That was at 46K. It has dropped since then because Bitcoin was going down, and it is at the 39. I think it's around like 39K, 39.8K. We broke that a long time ago, and seems like we're going up. So the weekly candlestick actually closes in 12 minutes. So we can actually see where Bitcoin's going to go in 12 minutes. That means there's going to be a new weekly candlestick, and that's going to basically decide which direction Bitcoin's going to go. So 12 minutes for Ethereum, same thing. 12 minutes, the new weekly candlestick. Ethereum I'm slightly more bullish on just because of the fact that it's Ethereum, and it's basically been outperforming Bitcoin ever since that recovery. You can see Ethereum surged somewhere, surged 87% from its lows of last month. For Bitcoin, that's slightly different. For Bitcoin, that's slightly less. Bitcoin surged 55% while Ethereum surged 87%. So there's clearly a difference. And someone's saying futures are drilling, man. What does that mean? Does that mean it's going up or it's going down? Let me take a look at futures real quick. Yeah, but Ethereum has been recovering much faster than Bitcoin. So I am more bullish on. Oh wow, futures are so red right now. Alright, so I guess we're gonna basically continue off of last week. I knew that Dow and SPY did end off on a pretty ugly weekly candlestick. Nasdaq was just red because of the data, so looks like tech is leading the charge of red futures right now, while Dow is slightly less red. But yeah, I can chart futures in a moment, but it looks like futures has been tanking ever since it opened, so that's not really good. But 10 minutes till the Bitcoin weekly candlestick actually closes and we form a new one. But if you do recognize this pattern, this is, I'm pretty sure it's called, let's take a look, it's called the 3 white soldiers, or in this case the 3 green soldiers. This is a pretty bullish pattern, especially in the weekly when this time frame is this large. This bullish pattern means that usually like 80% of the time it's gonna be a bullish continuation. And I do expect to see that happening again, continue to happen. I feel like, I don't know, as long as Ethereum closes above 3,000, I think we should be good. Ethereum did drop a long way from its highs for this week, but Bitcoin looks like it's holding on to 43K, which is pretty nice. It's holding on to the 21 EMA, which is good. On the daily, it looks like we are trying to retract to the 9 EMA, which is healthy. Ethereum, same thing. Looks like we're trying to retract to the 9 EMA, just not get too far ahead of ourselves, which is good. It's never a bad thing. Alright, so I'm looking at chat right now. Let's first chart futures real quick. So well, this is the Dow over here, but this is futures over here. This is the S&P futures. We opened at 6 o'clock, and ever since we opened, we've been tanking. If we look on the daily for futures, it looks like we might be going for the 9 EMA over there, around 4,405, which is $9 away right now. So that is around. Let's measure that real quick. That's around another 0.2%. So there's a possibility we will open quite red tomorrow. You can see for the weekly candlestick, we ended up on a hammer, which, last few times we did that, we had a red week right after. You can see that there's a hammer here. We had a pretty flat week. Hammer here, red week, right? Hammer over here, we had a red week. So what history tells us is that we do have red weeks after that. Dow, same thing. And also if we gap down from here for the Dow, basically that created a bearish abandoned baby on the Dow on the daily chart, which is also pretty ugly. So, you know, it's just something to look out for. Weekly candlestick looks like 3 white soldiers. Are you talking about Bitcoin or are you talking about the Dow? On the Dow I don't see it, but on Bitcoin I do. So 7 more minutes until the daily and the weekly candlestick closes on crypto, so we can see which direction that's going to go. But I'm going to start taking charting requests in the chat. So number 1's Expedia, so let's take a look at that. Oh yeah, by the way, I did see this pattern will work. Might as well check it out. So EXPE. So I did take a lotto on that just because Expedia, tanked really hard, and there were a ton of bullish flow coming in. You can see it. Expedia did, gap down from 161 all the way down to 148. I did see bullish flow on it, which is why I did take it as a lotto. But if you look at the chart, just looking at the technical analysis, you can see that there is a descending broadening wedge over here, which is bullish. So I am expecting Expedia to go back up. Will it go up tomorrow? Who knows? It's pretty big volume over here, which, we didn't really move. So we're still trying to decide which direction to go. But I did see a ton of bullish flow, and on dark pool, it looks like dark pool has been buying up Expedia. So I am expecting a gap fill here sooner or later. Will it be tomorrow? I don't know, but I think it's going to happen, by the end of this month, because there is a ton of bullish flow, and dark pool basically controls the market. So when there's a bunch of bullish flow for that, things should start going up. Alright, so we have 7 more minutes for crypto. Looks like Ethereum is holding above 3K. Bitcoin is holding. Let's see if Bitcoin can break 44K in 6 minutes. Let's see. Can it go up $200 in 6 minutes? We can take a look at Bitcoin's smaller time frame, like the 15-minute, and whoa, that does not look good. Wow, okay, so Bitcoin, I don't know what to make out of this. So since it has like 5 minutes left, there's a 5-minute candlestick that needs to go all the way up here. So this 5-minute candlestick needs to go up here. If it doesn't, then we can't close above 44K. So let's see if we can close above 44K. I don't think we will, but Bitcoin never fails to surprise me. And we look at the weekly candlestick, right? There's 3 white soldiers over here. It's pretty bullish. I think we're gonna go up even more. Also, guys, if you just joined the stream, make sure to like this stream. Make sure to, share this stream. I haven't streamed in a long time because I've been busy, but today I did finally find the time to stream. So make sure to like the stream, share the stream. But yeah, Bitcoin looks pretty nice. And if we go on the logarithmic chart, you can see that this surge for Bitcoin is pretty much like nothing. You can see that in the past when Bitcoin did start surging, it went from 193 all the way to $20,000. That is a 10,000% increase. All right. From our lows of Bitcoin over here to the all-time highs, you can see Bitcoin only surged 1,966%, which is not even close. And you can see that this drop for Bitcoin's like nothing if you look at the logarithmic chart. So there's 2 things to keep in mind. One is we're still in this bull run right now, or 2, this drop isn't over yet, and this can be a fake out. You can see when Bitcoin dropped over here, we had multiple green weeks, but we did end up falling back down. So the one thing to keep in mind over here is, well, number 1, we are at a few point of resistance right now. You can chart this out, and you can see that we did reject resistance over here. So for us to keep on going, we need strong weekly candlesticks. Once we start fading out, similarly to what happened over here, that's when we can drop even more. So that's something we need to be cautious of. But Bitcoin is a long-term hold in the first place. So it doesn't matter how much Bitcoin drops, right? 10 years down the road, this crash won't even matter because we're gonna be going through so many bull runs, so many crashes. It's gonna be part of the crypto process. Alright, so I do see more tickers coming in. So 3 minutes till the new weekly candlestick comes in. Same thing for Ethereum. So I'll check back at 8 p.m. But let's take a look at more tickers. So the next ticker is going to be Futu. And Futu is tanking along with China stocks. You can see that on the daily, it did break the 200 EMA. My number one thing for Futu to be bullish again is to number one break the 9 EMA at 109, but number two break the 200 EMA at 112. So until it breaks these two price points, Futu can continue on dropping, and with its pattern, you can argue that it's in a channel right now, which isn't the best pattern for Futu to be in currently. But you can see that it is in the channel right now, and it definitely has more room to go down. And depending on China news, depending on whether or not China is going to relax its new policies, it's becoming, to create. Futu is going to take direct effect of that. So, really depends. But right now, Futu doesn't look so nice. Tilray. So Tilray the other week I should say, did have good earnings, and it did surge off of that news. You can see this giant green candlestick. Right now, it did start calming back down. It bounced off this gap over here a couple of times. You can see that over here. But it looks like we did close right below the 9 EMA last week. So it looks like these past 4 days, Tilray did try break above the 9 EMA, but we keep rejecting, which means that we are in the downtrend, and we're still in the downtrend right now. So I do think Tilray is probably going to go fill this gap down here, all the way down to $13.51. So it's going to drop like $1. After that, I really have no idea. It's Tilray, right? It's a pump and dump wheat company. I personally don't like the wheat sector anyways, but especially with this pump and dump, you don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, just be careful trading Tilray. Next stock is going to be GSK. I'm not really sure what ticker this is. I've never heard of this. This is probably some random small cap. Okay, so looks like this went along with the tech dump. It went from $48 all the way to $31. Okay. You can argue that there's some kind of wedge over here. I don't necessarily see anything too interesting. Yeah, this is not really a common stock. I don't recommend trading options on these kind of stocks because it is going to have low volume. Someone said NEO. So NEO also is going to go with China stocks, but it didn't fall as much for China stocks because its sector is actually doing pretty well right now. You can see that there's an inverse head and shoulders for NEO. Right, so there's the shoulder, head, shoulder. So I am expecting NEO to turn around, the next week. You can see that NEO did close above. It did close. It closed right below the 50 EMA, but it should easily reclaim that if EVs do well next week, which I think it will. But also NEO does have earnings next week, so I also think that it's going to have a earnings run up. And a bunch of the Cathy Wood ARK stocks do have earnings next week. So it's going to be a make or break week for all these companies that dropped like 30 to like 50% from its all-time highs back in February. So I am expecting a turnaround for these companies, but you can also expect a further tank with these companies. So this next week, or should I say this week since it's already Sunday, next week is pretty much a make or break week for these types of companies because of the fact that there's earnings, and since you're still like 30 to 50% down from all-time highs, with the market, with QQQ breaking all-time highs, with SPY breaking all-time highs, it might be the week that you might finally recover, or you're gonna keep dropping. So did I get any shares of Robinhood? I did. I bought one share as a YOLO. I mean, I should have bought like 50 of them, but yeah, I did buy one share. It's pretty crazy. Robinhood's pretty crazy. I really want to see I really want to see it restrict users to buy its own shares, just like it did with GameStop and AMC. But I don't think it's going to do that because Robinhood's pretty corrupted. It's pretty sus. So let's see here. Okay, so Bitcoin did open its new weekly candlestick. So looks like we did open green, which is good. Looks like we opened green and went right up actually. So far so good. You can see on the daily, right? Looks like we just did a slight consolidation, which is always healthy. Looks like Bitcoin's going to test 44K again, which, you know, it did a retest of it. Ethereum, same thing. Ethereum basically just tried getting closer to the 9 EMA, which is, you know, not always a bad thing, right? Looks like it did retested the 3K level. Looks like we successfully held with it closing above it. So we just have to see where today is going to bring us. And usually around this time, Sunday evening, Monday like morning, that's when crypto usually dump. You can see over here, August 3rd. Same thing happened. Crypto dumped right before the next week. But you know, crypto's unpredictable. Sometimes even technical analysis can't even predict what is going to happen because crypto's unregulated, and also there's just a ton of other factors besides technical analysis that goes into crypto. So all right, let's see here. Someone said a PLTR. Let's take a look at Palantir also has earnings next week, so I am expecting a slight earnings run up. Looks similar to Neo actually, but I think I'm more bearish on Palantir just because of the fact that if you take a look, it looks like it's some bearish consolidation over here. You can call it like a bear flag, a symmetrical triangle, or you can just call it, you know, a bear pennant. But I am expecting it to go down even more. You can see that every time it, you know, gradually recovers, there's like straight green red candlesticks going down. So you can say stairs up, elevators down, elevator down. And I do expect this to break down. And there's earnings on the 12th, which is on Thursday. So let's see, it might go up, but it looks like the estimate for Palantir is actually positive this time. It's actually above the negative. So if Palantir does, you know, report a positive earnings for the first time, it might have a really beautiful run up again. So we'll just have to see, but it is pretty far from all-time highs. All-time highs is at 45%, so it did go down more than 50%. You can see that it retraced. At this point, it retraced 51%, so slightly over 50%, but let's see if earnings run up is going to do anything, or if earnings is actually going to, I guess, influence it. Our next stock is going to be Peloton. So Peloton actually has an inverse head and shoulders, you can see over here. It did have a pretty sharp drop, but it looks like it held right on top the 150 EMA. It's a couple of cents under it, which I think it can easily reclaim it. For Peloton, same thing as earnings. Well, it has earnings on 26, but next week, a bunch of stocks that are similar to Peloton, which are like more of the stay-at-home COVID stocks, right? They have earnings, so that's going to definitely affect Peloton. And also, we do have more. I think we have CPI coming out. So if it looks like inflation is going to keep on, you know, well, if it looks like the economy isn't fully like going back to normal, rates aren't going to go increase, which is going to be good news for QQQ and Peloton and all of these more growth stocks. So that's also something to look out for. CPI is coming. I think it's Tuesday, but I'm not really sure. I have to check the calendar again. And let's take a look at crypto. And look at that. Looks like the daily candlesticks are red. We might have another red day before going back green. And that, you know, that's completely healthy because you can see Bitcoin did have this slight pullback before going up even higher. and that's healthy for crypto. That's healthy for everything. So something that's not healthy is if you kind of chart these two resistances. Technically, we have 3 resistance points already for this, right? If I just adjust this, you have 1, 2, 3 resistance points. If I just slightly adjust this, you can see we perfectly bounced off the resistance over here. And then you chart out support, which obviously you can see that there is a rising wedge, which is definitely not beautiful. And if you look at where the rising wedge breaks out from, it's perfectly along the resistance of this 47K mark, which is previous support for when Bitcoin actually did drop on some news. So I am expecting a pullback there around this region. That's where Bitcoin's going to start struggling to get over. Well, obviously it's all-time highs, but also because there's a ton of support and resistance points here, and there's going to be a bunch of supply zones up here. So I am expecting Bitcoin to pull back there. And obviously there's a rising wedge, which also doesn't help the situation for Bitcoin. But so far this week is red for crypto. So let's see if we recover overnight, maybe back into tomorrow. If we look at futures right now, looks like we are starting to kind of slow down a little bit. But this candlestick doesn't look strong enough. We have 2 minutes left in the 15-minute. I don't think it's gonna do much yet. So I mean, if we're gonna go to hourly, doesn't look so nice. So I'm just looking over the chat right now. All right, so let's see. So futures not looking so well on the daily. I think we're gonna go test the 9 EMA before bouncing up, but yeah, let's see here. And also keep in mind that this weekend there was infrastructure news, and next week there's gonna be CPI, which people might sell before that. But I do think CPI is gonna start calming down because used car prices should be going down because of the new model of the new cars coming out. So when these new cars with the new model, I think it's the 2022 models coming out, used car demand should be going slightly more down, just because of the fact that, people have more options. There's going to be more cars on the market, which is going to drive prices down for cars. So because last time when when CPI did come out with this really high rate, it was basically inflated by used cars. You see lumber, it's been going down. You see copper, other commodities, it's been staying flat. But used cars, it's been consistently going up. And since used cars are starting to go down actually because of the fact of new cars coming out, new car models, more cars in the market, CPI should also be affected of that too. So it's also something else to look out for, right? And CPI data is obviously going to affect crypto, right? People might want to hedge with crypto more if CPI does get out of hand. I think CPI is going to be fine, but it's always nice for crypto to also pump. So that's also something else to look out for. All right, seems like there's no more questions, so I'll just end it off with, just beware, be hedged. If you look at SPY on the weekly, you can see that we still have room to go, but we did end off in a hammer. You can see history shows us that when we end off on hammers, the next week usually is going to be red. You can see we end off on a hammer, red week after that, hammer, red week, right? Hammer, red week, hammer, red week, hammer, red week, right? I guess these are exceptions because that's when we've been recovering, but just usually when history tells us, red weeks do happen after hammers. But it does look like we do have a higher ceiling for SPY. It looks like it's around 451. So there's always a chance for SPY to also run to 451. But don't count on it too much. So just be careful, right? Stay hedged. Keep cash on hand. Don't run out of money and then you can't buy the dip. Don't do that, right? Always hold on. You can see QQQ starting to flatten out up here, right? There might be some slight pullback coming soon. So we'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait. Alright, let's chart one more stock, and that's going to be Mara. So, well, Mara is obviously going to run along with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's tanking right now. Mara is obviously going to, it might open red tomorrow. Let's take a look. So we ended off on Bitcoin. Let's see, Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin? Ethereum, Bitcoin. So Friday was the 6th. So the 6th we closed up here. We went up, we went down. So we did slightly go above the previous close for Friday. Well, it depends on what crypto is going to do overnight, but Mara should open green tomorrow. But that all depends on what we do tonight. Usually Sunday night, Monday morning, that's when crypto actually decides to dump for some reason. I haven't really researched about that yet, but I've just observed that. So that's also something to look out for. So, but if you look at Mara charts, it's looking pretty nice. You see that we did successfully double bottom down here, and it looks like we did break previous highs up here. So it does look like we have more room to go up. Keep in mind RSI is creeping to the level of 70, but it looks like previously Mara just doesn't really care, so it's also something else to look out for. Also, Mara actually has earnings tomorrow, so if you do have Mara contracts, I don't know if Mara earnings are before open or after close. Does it say? That's interesting. I don't know if it says it. Does anyone know when Mara earnings are? But if it's before open, well, that's gonna obviously alter it. If it's before close, then we might have a Mara run up. Contracts are gonna be IV pumped, so you can have a chance to sell it there. But I do think Mara is going to do well tomorrow if Bitcoin does well. So far not looking so good. So we'll just have to see. You have to monitor Bitcoin for that. So I already went over Peloton and Neo. So so you can always rewind the stream. You can always look back into it. But looks like I've been streaming for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna head off if no one else is asking new tickers. Hopefully you guys have a great week next week, and if you do have questions, make sure to DM me, and yeah, I'll see you next week, guys.